Rock concert movement number 1. The basic head bob. Ready, go.
There we go. Get everything just right. Zoomed in today. All right, Brad Show with you. It's 1:31 on a Tuesday afternoon. I guess the day before snowpocalypse now. I guess tomorrow the real winter begins. And Thursday. Now
have they updated it from tomorrow night to just tomorrow?
Well, it's tomorrow night, like through the evening. Like there might be a period, might get some rain, and the always popular wintry mix.
Oh, ice storms are so much fun when all the power comes down and the
underground power lines. I don't know why we put them above ground anymore. Let's spend the money.
I don't know if I have underground power lines or not. I know I have a line coming to the house, but I'm not sure that's just not cable.
Yeah, mine, power rarely goes out for more than, a picosecond at my place, and I love its beauty of new construction. Not only do I get, the fastest DSL available.
Well, yeah, my house is only 5 years old, so I'm sure it's probably underground.
I don't know why. I know in, some older areas, it would be a massive project, but maybe it's one worth undertaking. Not only, again, for the fact that we've been living on the greatest generation's infrastructure now for decades, because it's something that's very easy to, it's a very easy can to kick down the curb, deal with it later, until a bridge falls. It's always something that's not an immediate issue. And that's one of the things talking about today, because I think it fits in all this, kind of the real versus the abstract. Now, in Washington's sense, the fiscal cliff and grand bargains and the like are very abstract. People don't see that direct connection to life. It's why you see a very different reaction to fiscal cliff talks versus the gun debate that has started back up again. Dead children are very real. Abstract financials. You're talking billions and trillions of dollars. Very abstract, and people tend to not contemplate them. Dan, you might want to earmuffs for a second. Like yesterday, we were discussing things like the age of the Earth. Again, billions of years is very abstract. It's why many people, as a comfort, hold on to that view, while very few still believe that illness is caused by demons. That view goes by the wayside because getting sick has a very direct influence on you. The age of the Earth doesn't. You can hold whatever view, whether it's 6 years, 6,000 years, or it doesn't really exist. It's just a figment of your imagination. It doesn't change your daily life.
You're right. I should have earmuffed.
So I told you.
But you're kind
to hold that point of view. It doesn't. You don't believe that demons cause sickness.
But I have a reason for not believing that. I don't believe that demons are as active.
It's very real.
No,
you believe in demons, right? But they're not the ones giving you a chest.
Not in the sense you think I do. I believe in demons, but I also believe that there was a reason for their activity. And I think at this point that has been chained and stopped by God. I see it in Scripture as something that would have ceased a long time ago. I see a scriptural reasoning for it.
Go back 150 years.
Well, I would say they're wrong.
And there are plenty of,
I'm happy to say...
Even before the germ theory of disease.
I am happy to say that there is a lot of theology that I think was wrong 150 years ago, including that would allow Christians to own slaves.
And I know you disagree with this, but if I could teleport you 150 years...
I'd be a heretic. That's fine.
But yeah, you would mainstream Christianity.
Of course.
It's why you even look weird though at the Christian Science people.
Probably.
I can't kick my kid to a doctor. If my faith is strong enough, it will cure leprosy, rickets, cancer.
Well, and while I understand where they're getting at, I also think we have a God that provided a medical system for us to use. It's similar to he gave us brains so that we could think. And
then why didn't he tell us about the germ theory of disease so we wouldn't bleed people?
Well, but see, part of that was just
hint around it, make it easier to find, play hot cold, whatever you want.
Part
to
of
do.
that's just it's learned knowledge from years of humanity. I think it's also it shows how young humanity is how fast we advance. But that's you're kind of drawing a couple different abstract points there. You're saying that creation and demons are kind of akin to each other.
No,
and
I'm
if one
saying
believes
it's
in one, they should believe in both.
Because the age of the earth does not directly influence your life on a daily basis.
I would say that that's not necessarily true. I mean, my whole worldview would change if the Earth was billions of years.
But it's not going to change how you get to and from work. It's not going to change your spending habits. It's not going to change your behavior.
Actually, that's not true. Again,
there are plenty of I think you would say, real Christians who believe that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old.
There are plenty of Christians that have tried to look at some of the observed science that you would accept as true and rectify that with Christianity, sure.
Yeah.
But I think they miss a point.
But if you were to not
it's possible the Earth's billions of years old. God's pretty vague.
But if you are not, one to believe in medicine,
sure,
and believe that demons are afflicting you, and what's
but then you're ignoring
Dr. Jellyfinger is going to do against the power of Beelzebub.
Yeah,
you're going to act very differently and will affect your daily life. It's why that view has gone by the wayside.
But you're ignoring something.
Why the safe ones are allowed to stay.
But you're ignoring something that's scripturally untrue. Believing in a 6,000-year Earth, which I don't coincidentally necessarily
You say 10,000.
I say I don't know. I say that I don't know how long humanity's been around. I don't think it's as old as you think it is. And I don't know that when God said he created the earth in these set periods of time, that days mean the same things to God. But I don't think it's millions and billions of years old, but I don't care to guess. What's important?
Don't guess.
What's important about that story to me is that God did it specifically and in an order. Those are what I hold on to more than anything else.
The bigger point I'm getting to is that there are kind of the abstract and then there's the direct.
Sure.
20 dead kids in Connecticut is direct. People have a very strong emotional response to that.
Well, Christians have some of the worst response to that. I mean, this marched God out of school and government presupposes that characters in a storybook can write out an author. And that's it's amusing to me. If we believe God is the author of humanity, then we can no more march him out of schools and governments than we can shout at the sun to turn off and have it respond to our command. It's silly.
I need trilithium for that.
I know. These people are silly, though. I mean, that's...
But, boy, bigger issue. While we talk about, a lot, and even people who don't care about politics or are actively turned off by politics get elbows deep into the reaction to Newtown, Connecticut.
Sure.
Some equally heinous stuff goes on in the abstract, and this is where our elected officials, correctly, by the way, assume that they can get away with pretty much anything. And that's where we're at today. This fiscal cliff. Right? It's a combination of letting the Bush tax cuts expire as they're supposed to, and negotiated cuts both in defense and domestic spending. This was supposed to be the hammer, the sword of Obamacles, hanging by a thread to encourage both sides to kind of drop the BS and get to a deal. Now, you would think, here's a Republican Party that magically on January 20th, 2009, decided they were really against the debt and the deficit, would see the fiscal cliff, which decreases spending and allows the extension of the expiration of the Bush tax cuts. You'd think that would be something that was right in their wheelhouse, because it both cuts spending, which they say they're for, and decreases the debt and deficit by increasing revenue. It should be right in their wheelhouse. And the fact that they are so against it, I think, should go directly to what their true priorities are, which is those tax cuts and that defense spending. So, all the attention is being placed, I think, on John Boehner today, is Plan B. What is Plan B? And I'm not surprised Republicans are against something named Plan B. Is allowing the tax cuts to expire for people bringing in $1 million a year, give or take. We can fudge on the numbers a bit. That's the concession that he's willing to make, and it's dead on arrival. The problem is we now have the outlines of the Obama grand bargain. You would think that this might be, again, if facts are reasons, or facts are reason leading the right these days, this might lead them to reconsider the fact that he's some sort of flaming liberal. The White House plan would set the income bar that we've been talking about at $250,000 a year for a long time at $400,000. So if you're at $400,000 or below, you get your tax cuts. In addition, it cuts $1.22 trillion over 10 years in spending, including $122 billion in Social Security cuts. Now, this is where we're going to throw a flag. By statute, Social Security can't contribute to the deficit. And this crisis that everyone talks about says that come what? And the date changes every year or two, but somewhere in the mid-2030s, Social Security will only be able to pay out 75-ish% of current benefits. So long story short, because at some point Social Security may have to decrease benefits, we should decrease benefits now. Make sense? Now, what are the odds that such an offered cut in Social Security would be used against Democrats in the future? Well, let's go back a month and a half when Romney and friends were pretty much doing everything in their power to put, Medicare cutter into the lap of Barack Obama. Ignore their own plan to turn it into health stamps, to blunt the effect of Paul Ryan being the VP candidate. Republicans decided to twist into, Obama is cutting Medicare, leaving out the convenient fact that it does not affect benefits in any way, shape, or form. It's strictly on a repayment. And by the way, I'm absolutely fine with saving money when it comes to Medicare, and I think there are some very smart ways to do it, such as the prescription drug negotiations, which are currently, denied by law. We can't save a nickel on, Rush Limbaugh's impotence medicine. Even with the immense buying power of the government, we can't do what Walmart does by law, because Chuck Grassley wanted it that way. That was Medicare Part D. So there are ways to save money. Cutting benefits is a bad one. It is not just bad policy, it's bad politics. So you're really 0 for 2. What the president has proposed is, it's called chained CPI. And that is that consumer price index. And what it does is, moving forward, it lowers basically that cost of living increase over time. and it builds upon itself. So over a long period of time, you're paying a lot less in benefits. Now, again, you can understand why seniors being a powerful voting bloc, this is a bad idea. And when, again, Democrats, the party of earned benefit programs, aka entitlements, are offering cuts, you don't think that'll be used against us in the future? I think Republicans will run to our left as the defenders of Social Security. And again, I wish every crisis in my life had 20 years to come true. I think I would be doing okay. If it's not a problem till 2030, if they said, by the mid 2030s, your roof is going to be springing leaks all over the place, would you fix your roof immediately? Foundation, basement. I told you your car was going to last till 2035. Would you be looking to, oh God, I got to get a Hyundai. This is insane. And by the way, if you want to make Social Security pretty much solvent until the heat death of the universe, we'll just simply raise the cap. Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey are done paying their portion into Social Security by, I don't know, the time the New Year's Day parade happens. Why don't we just kick that back to, I don't know, Sweetest Day? Problem solved. I'll remove the cap entirely, and you could maybe even raise benefits. I wonder if that would be popular among seniors and 50-somethings headed towards retirement. I just wonder. And this is now the second time, at least publicly. Who knows what strange acts go on behind closed doors. Generally, when things like this gets leaked for a purpose. Sometimes it's to blunt the impact of a smaller change that is coming. They said they were going to blow up Manhattan. Oh, God, no. Oh, it turns out they're just going to blow up half of Brooklyn. Well, that's not as bad. The other time it is a trial balloon. Think of it like if Daniel Boone at the album. We're going to put this coonskin cap on a stick and raise it up over the wall, and we'll see if it gets, blown to bits or not. And if it doesn't get blown to bits, then maybe it's safe to proceed. I tell people this. I try to lead by example. I made some fun phone calls this morning. Now is the time to give Harkin a call. While he's still in, Boswell a call, and let them know that this is a bad deal. I would say call the White House switchboard, but you're not going to get through. It's going to be absolutely jam-packed, I'm guessing, by people saying what a bad idea this is. This is that, and I don't get this. We're a little more than a month out, not just from a win, but a rather decisive one. Extend our lead in the Senate. Get 1 million more votes than Republicans for the House of Representatives, but thanks to gerrymandering, they hold a majority there. Romney gets his 47% of the vote in what can only be considered poetic justice. All right, we won. Why are we conceding? We haven't even reached the second inauguration yet. Again, I'm not saying I like the bits of sequestration. I understand that there will be, again, actual harm done. But it is harm that is fixable. Again, let the Bush tax cuts expire as they were written to do by Republicans. And if Republicans want to get on board with the Obama middle-class tax cuts, you're more than welcome. This train ain't got no brakes, but has room for the GOP. If Republicans want to hold the full faith and credit of the United States government, hostage. Let them. Yes, it will cost billions. Their last stunt, I don't remember what the final number turned out to be, but thanks to the emergency treasury measures, we're going to be paying a little more on the debt that was issued during that period. At the end of the day, I don't think the Republican Party, and remember who's saying this, is crazy enough to, literally tank the world economy, which is what a U.S. default would do. We are the default currency of the world. And not just because oil is traded in dollars. We're the reserve currency of the world. It's how we can, even now, for all, how many years has it been now? Especially the gold peddlers have been telling us that, inflation is coming. Why, Mark? Republic type inflation is coming. It's just around the corner. Seriously, any day now. Just keep waiting. And here we are years later, and we can literally borrow money for less than the cost of inflation. For all the talk of the bond vigilantes, if we don't get our house in order, the bond markets are going to punish us by throwing free money at us? Beat me. Call me dirty names. Tell me I'm a bad girl. Whatever it takes. If that's punishment, throw me in Guantanamo. I don't think, in spite of, the Michelle Bachmans of the world, who I don't even think know what the debt ceiling does. And if you look at what Fox is saying, or the Bachmans and Steve Kings, they always kind of talk around the fact that the debt ceiling does not spend a dime. All it does is empowers the executive branch to follow through on the promises that Congress, which is half Republican, made. Pay our debts, pay our appropriations. That's it. That's all the debt ceiling does. It doesn't spend any money. And if it really, if you get to Cuban Missile Crisis levels of brinksmanship, there are options. One being the 14th Amendment, which says that the debts of the United States shall not be challenged. Now, that was in response to Civil War debt. But it is pretty clear. The president is not allowed to default. Now, certainly that's an argument of, which style do you read it in? There are others. For example, the Treasury Secretary is empowered to order the minting of platinum coins of any denomination. And again, that's black and white laws is. So if Timothy Geithner, at the order of President Obama, were to say, mint 2 $1 trillion platinum coins, well, debt ceiling crisis averted. Don't make us mint 2 more, or 10, 50, 1,000. Maybe we'll do like a state set, all 50. So there are ways around these things. Capitulation on things that are, again, essentially Democrat. Right? This is the New Deal. This is, FDR's legacy. And, has the convenient secondary function of, keeping a lot of seniors out of poverty. I haven't tasted Friskies, but it's not something I'd want to live off of in my waning years. Medicare, again, hugely popular. Republicans learned this the hard way when they tried to play we're only going to cut benefits for those under 55. Won't that be popular among current seniors? And they said no. Because not only do we like this, we want our kids and grandkids to have it too, because we realize how good it is. One area that doesn't get talked enough is Medicaid. And here you have a problem where some states, in order to pad the bottom line when you don't get allowed to, like say Indiana, sell your state lottery. Instead, make it so that even if you work part-time at McDonald's, you're going to make too much money to qualify for Medicaid. Sorry. And a vast majority, by the way, of like long-term home living is a Medicaid cost. Sorry, Grandma. Here's your free bag of Friskies. You're out on the street. These are important aspects of the social safety. And Republicans, for all they're crazy, and it is legion, are smart enough to know that, except for Paul Ryan, it will take a Democrat to cut these things. Someone with a D next to their name. And for whatever reason, considering, again, this is the second time we've had this conversation, I'm starting to believe that Barack Obama really wants to do it. This isn't forcing his hand. This isn't, got to make the best of a bad situation. Why else, when you're seemingly in a position of strength here, would you offer up Social Security cuts? Go back to the debt ceiling. Not only did he offer Social Security cuts then, but Medicare and even TRICARE. That's the military socialized health care program. Why would you do that? Twice, publicly. If this really wasn't something you were into. And that's why, again, already called Harkin's office. I might recommend you do the same. If you go to my Twitter feed, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw, I posted a link to the Senate switchboard. I would say call Chuck Grassley, but let's be honest, he's a hack and it's not going to do any good. We learned with the healthcare debate, even if you give him everything he wants, he won't go against the Republican Party. But certainly, Loebsack, Braley, even Boswell, who was there till the end of the term. Because again, in talking about John Boehner's Plan B, which is dead on arrival, but is certainly a negotiating point. One thing that's not going to be brought up in the articles is that it's very unlikely that even a Plan B would pass in the House of Representatives without Democratic votes. Anything letting the Bush tax cuts expire, you're going to have just, again, the Bachmann, Steve King, Louis Gohmert side, who are just going to say no reflexively. This is going to be another one of those cases where John Boehner is going to have to, on bended knee, stop in front of Nancy Pelosi's door and say, "May we have some more votes?" And every little bit helps. And again, this is the, real versus abstract. Plenty of politicians want to posture, at the very least, about gun control because it is a very real issue. If you let our elected officials know that, yes, things like debt ceilings and price indexes.
Rock concert movement number 1.
Music?
The basic head
It's on.
bob. Ready, go.
It's on again. There we go. If you let them know that this is a real issue to you, you're paying attention, you will be shocked at how quickly behavior changes. This is why I always encourage people, again, at the very least, the least I could do, other than maybe eat at Chick-fil-A, because Lord knows it's really getting, Americans out of their way to get them to eat fast food. Go to their websites, drop them an email. Calling is more effective. Go to twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw. Post a link for the Senate switchboard. I would say call the White House, but again, you're not going to get through. I wasn't able to this morning. Maybe you have one of those, war dialing machines. If so, hook a brother up. While we're busy paying attention to other things, and rightfully so, doesn't mean we can take our eye off the ball. All right, email radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw for snarky things said to Chuck Grassley in the Iowa GOP. And just go to thebradshawshow.com. It's got links to archives, all the contact info. It's all there at www.thebradshawshow.com. Going to take a break. When we come back, they're selling like hotcakes. Not Trapper Keeper folders, not hypercolor shirts, Guess jeans. Bulletproof backpacks are flying off the shelves. Talk about that and more when we come back. Here on The Bradshaw Show on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. See you in a minute.
Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager
I'm the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
If we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, it's got to be, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
If you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? You can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
Fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
To start.
Rock concert movement number 1. The basic head bob. Ready, go.
All right, email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com, and David thanks the email if I'll keep that one to myself. Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Let's go to the Bradshaw Show.com. Yesterday, over the weekend, mentioned multiple gun incidents, whether it's the guy with his 47 gun arsenal of freedom in Indiana, or the Oklahoma high school student who was recruiting for his own school shooting posse to the multiple gun incidents in Alabama. Someone decided to shoot up a hospital. Chris emailed me from the West Coast last night. Said over the weekend there was a man who shot 50 rounds in a mall parking lot here in Newport Beach, just a few miles from where I live. It didn't really make national news, and maybe you heard about it, but I promise, even for Southern California, where the news is filled with gun murders every day, this was a shocking, frankly scary as hell. It's extremely fortunate no one was injured during an attempt, and the man was arrested. It goes through a lot. If you haven't stopped reading this email out of sheer boredom yet, personally, I am not in a position to ever say no to smart people. There are just some words you will never hear me say. Yes, please put anchovies on that. We have too many smart people around. We'll never be one of them. So I appreciate the email. So today, a man shot and killed 3 people in a home in Colorado before turning the handgun on himself, committing suicide. This comes from about 35 miles outside of Denver. Police are still looking for a motive. Meanwhile, yesterday, a 6th grader in Utah was found with an unloaded .22 caliber handgun. Said his parents encouraged him to bring it to school after the Connecticut shooting. And this 11-year-old, being an 11-year-old, pulled the gun out from his backpack during recess to show everyone. For some reason, this didn't go over well with the school or the people in the area. The student was apprehended 30 to 45 seconds later and brought to the principal's office. People are, well, I think reacting as you would expect. Schools in Newtown, Connecticut, opened up today. Already had one school put on lockdown because of a hoax threat. And I didn't even know this existed. And there are multiple flavors. You can either get the tactical backpack, which includes, it's bulletproof. And it comes in a, Swiss gear.
Swiss Army?
No, it's like that. It's not the Equinox, or what's the...
Equinox is Victorinox, you mean?
Victorinox, thank you. That's for the older kids, or they have like a Rainbow Bright and like an Avengers one for the younger kids, so they can be stylish and stop small arms fire at the same time. But maybe that's a little too spendy for you. They also make, and I don't even know what it's a Kevlar insert for the back side of the backpack where it's biggest. It's like a panty shield for your, I don't think it has wings, but for your backpack. So you just put that in the back of a regular backpack and it'll stop small arms fire. And it comes with an instruction manual to hunker down and put the bag over you or in front of you. And these have started selling like crazy in the past few days. Again, that's normal. What some people call freaking out, again, is a normal reaction to an overly screwed up situation. This might be a little more telling. And again, I've always said, follow the money. When it comes to, just an example I know intimately, the talk radio world. For all the host talk of, you're a great macho, studly American with overly large testicles or whatever. high testosterone levels. If you really want to know what they think about their audience, listen to the ads for male enhancement, dubious investment schemes, and the like. I don't know if anything will ever top the invest in American success, buy Iraqi dinars kind of wave of patriotism, because Iraq's going to go so well. This currency is going to go up, up, up. Because we're telling you what, great things are happening, and there's no way anything can go wrong, so put your money here. I'm pretty sure all those guys shut down. I'm sure most of them just went into gold peddling. Because, Zimbabwe-style inflation's just around the corner. No, seriously, just keep waiting. Same thing, there's a reason that they sell Bushmasters by saying, get your man card. Cerebras Capital Management. And also I'm involved in the radio world here. Is one of those vulture capitalism companies. And maybe it's just PR, or maybe. And if you saw my bank account balance, you would know I'm not a master of high finance by any means. But they're a private equity firm who in the past few years has bet big on gun companies. They own a stake in what is called the Freedom Group. It's a parent company of some gun manufacturers, including the Bushmaster. They said today that they are selling their stake. They said, we do not believe the Freedom Group or any single company or individual can prevent senseless violence or the illegal use of procurement of firearms and ammunition. It is apparent that the Sandy Hook tragedy was a watershed event that has raised the national debate on gun control to an unprecedented level. And again, my first thought in seeing this PR move, but certainly seeing the actions of Bain Capital and other businesses, I don't know if they care all that much about bad PR. Is this a sign that perhaps the landscape has changed? Guns and ammo's been pretty big business, especially since November of 2008. Guns and ammo flying off the shelves. Good chunk of that credit goes to Wayne LaPierre and the friends of the NRA. They're coming for your guns, they're coming for your guns, they're coming for your guns. And, of course, Obama did nothing. Expanded gun rights. But then with his reelection, the whole thing started again. No. See, he didn't do anything in the first term so that he could sneak through in the second term. Take all your guns. They're going to send acorn workers to gay marry you and steal all your shotguns. Black Friday set a record for the number of background checks for weapons purchases. In spite of the fact that, again, the number of guns in this country is growing, while the number of people who own them is actually diminishing. Another, I think, unexpected response. And I don't know if this is a nationwide thing or regional, but I did see, in California, people are turning in their guns in droves. Since you can't just, chuck it into the trash can. But pretty much, I believe any police department would be more than happy to take weaponry off your hands. people are going in to police departments and turning in their guns. Again, I don't know how widespread it is, but I know
People can turn in their guns to me. I am happy.
I don't think that would have the intended purpose.
Why not? Now we know where they're all at and they're safe, and you can't be used against anybody else because they're in a hurricane-proof safe.
I don't know what. Again, I don't want to go overboard in blaming the victim, but Mrs. Lanza had plenty of guns. Probably kept them locked up to a degree. And then her kid took them and shot up a school and her in the face.
I don't know the situation. That'd be interesting to see the facts on that.
I'm sure we'll in time.
Yeah, I'm sure in time. That'll be an interesting story. Allowing your kids access to weapons is foolish and foolhardily. And I mean,
what happened when your kids are 18, 19?
They can go out and buy their own shotgun at that age. They can't own handguns until they're 21.
No, but I mean, would they have access to your gun safe?
My kids are never going to have. They can be 40. They're not going to have access to my gun safe. You know who has access to my guns? Me. That's it. My wife.
See, I wonder though how many gun people. And I don't know. I have no earthly clue or even grounds to make a quasi-educated guess. But I wonder how many gun households. Which is, again, really what we're turning into. The average gun household has 7 guns.
Sure.
So the statistic of over 300 million guns is slightly misleading in the sense that those are concentrated in fewer homes. But when people highlight the multiple hundreds of millions of guns, they leave that last part out. But I wonder in how many of those households. Certainly, I would hope your 5 or 6-year-old. Your 10-year-old doesn't have access to the gun safe. The whole point of a gun safe is to keep the 10-year-old, or this 11-year-old in Utah was given a unloaded. What's an unloaded gun, by the way, going to do?
That is the most
killed?
Ridiculous story I've heard. I mean, who didn't know the end of that story? I mean, come on, that's so silly.
Well, this kid's moron parents.
Unfortunately,
but I wonder how many households allow older. It's because once you're like 16 and you're going to the shooting range with Pa, or just, you're responsible now, and in case, you might be the man of the house someday, son, so you should know my,
Yeah, I wonder that too. I mean, and that's inappropriate. I mean, I will be the first to say that parents that allow guns to be accessible to their children, especially in completely unsupervised ways are just horribly exercising, I guess, they're exercising very horrible gun safety. It's one thing to go hunting with your kid and provide them with a gun to hunt with. It's another thing to let them keep their shotgun in the truck that they drive around. One of them's an okay thing, and one of them's a very bad idea.
But this is big business, and I just have numbers for 2010. But you're looking at 1.2 million long guns, 2.6 billion rounds of ammunition, and that's just 1 year. In the 9 months that led up to September of 2012, so just through this year through September, Freedom Group had net sales of $677 million. So that's not chump change, and that's certainly not the entire gun market. That's Bushmaster, Remington, DPMS. Are you familiar with?
Yeah.
What do they make? Anything I've ever heard of?
They make guns.
Well, I know that. Do they make like...
They're pretty well known for their AR-15 variations.
Ah, there you go.
But they're not making the AR-15s
that we're seeing at Tea Party rallies?
No, they're making like bull barrel precision shooting instruments, something that wouldn't be these are of a different caliber. These are specifically meant for competition shooting. I mean, the barrels are super thick. They wouldn't be... they're too precise for rapid fire or anything like that. So they need to be cleaned regularly and maintained, and it's not the kind of Bushmaster's a much lower quality of gun that would be kind of you go to the gun range and see how many times you can pull the trigger. This would be you hit the target.
But to see a venture capital, vulture capital, private equity, whatever you want to call it, divest themselves very quickly and it's one of two things. If you have a third option, I'd love to hear it, but it is either a PR move, and again, considering what these companies do, bleed the life out of companies, mass layoffs. I just have a hard time believing that if there was money on the table, PR would get in the way. And that is an opinion that may be absolutely biased against what, companies up to and including Cerberus have done to an industry I love. Or they see a societal shift coming. It's time to get out of the horse and buggy business. It's time to get out of the, telegraph business that society has moved past, or at least will. But I thought that was interesting again, because talk is talk, but when the money starts flowing, when an industry that it sees absolutely no problem with, laying off people by the thousands, shuttering companies, gets out of the gun business, I think they sense change is coming. I just don't believe that they would leave money on the table. All right. 244-0077. All are welcome. Some are capable. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com, and on the twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw. Just real quick, my Schadenfreude story of the day. And that is the Family Research Council. And yes, it's a group with family in the title. That means they're against same-sex marriage. They are a Christian conservative advocacy group. Is being sued for sexual harassment and discrimination. Myra Gall filed a complaint in 2009, accused of gender discrimination. The whole, inappropriate emails and so complaining about the boss. Was fired, had her health insurance, and this is a thing, retroactively canceled. So again, not just fired, but punted. It is now turning around and suing the company, and I wish her well. The other story, I found this interesting, because something that I've paid attention to, and it's starting to get attention outside. Outside different forms of media, and that is not just the fact, by the way, that MSNBC, the liberal network, except for Joe Scarborough, and, the news product, is beating Fox. And this has been going on, it's a few weeks before the election. And again, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, Obama's ahead, Democrats are doing well. They're getting the sort of reinforcement that causes Republicans to tune in to talk radio and Fox. That, you're right, you're winning, you're good, everything's all right. The funny thing is, election's over, so attention, we pay less of it to the news. But MSNBC is still winning. And other people are starting to notice this. There's a piece in BuzzFeed, Dorsey Shaw, saying MSNBC's post-election ratings should make Fox News nervous. MSNBC, number one ranking, 2554. the money demo 4 out of the 5 weeks since the election. And the system they're using. And again, this is something that radio used to do, which is you'd have a farm team. You'd have your nights and your overnight guys, and you would groom your next big superstars. And that's kind of gone by the wayside, thanks to Bain Capital and the like, and funding cuts. But not only do they have, I'll give or take the Ed Shaw, I'm not a huge fan, but Rachel Maddow, Lawrence O'Donnell, driving that money demo. You have an entire crop of youngins. Melissa Harris Perry is someone I had on my show before. Chris Hayes, Ezra Klein, doing weekend shows, ready to fill in. They find these people, they use them as guest hosts, then they find them a weekend slot, they groom them, and then they're ready to move into prime time. It's smart, and it's something that Fox isn't doing. While it's a very lucrative job being a Fox News contributor, they don't look for new and upcoming folks. They fill it with the likes of Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Sarah Palin. A part-time Fox News contributor, by the way, can pull in $75,000 a year. That wingnut welfare is expensive. The one place where Fox is still dominant is Bill O'Reilly. But he's 63 years old. How much longer is he going to keep doing this? I mean, the average Fox News viewer is 65 years old. That's like WHO range. But they bring up the point, when was the last time Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity really influenced conversation on the right? When was the last time Greta Van Susteren made headlines about anything? These are the primetime stars of Fox, and they're being passed by. Now, part of it is, again, there's only a certain level of crazy you can go to, I think, on a mass audience cable news channel, and the right has gone past that. They don't make headlines anymore. Again, remember when Ann Coulter was like shocking because she was so far out there, and even now she has to compete with Sarah Palin or Michelle Malkin, leaving them behind. You need to up your crazy. So, I guess good news. Again, not only are we winning in the ratings, but it looks like that success can be maintained. And again, we don't have anywhere near on the left the infrastructure that the right has. If you're a Jim DeMint, all right, and you're looking at a future as a backbencher in the Senate, there will always be a 7-figure, Heritage Foundation job for you. You can keep, in this. It's much like, tectonic plates, and you'll go under and then you'll pop back up again. If you're Matt Strawn, you'd fall on the sword because the Iowa caucuses were a joke. No problem. A PAC will pick you up, lay low for a bit, keep putting food on your family, and then you'll pop back up, I'm sure, at some point. And they maintain this infrastructure, and the left doesn't have that. We don't have the same collection of think tanks, policy institutes. Instead, far too many end up on Wall Street. But that's another topic for another time. Anyway, I got to bounce. Let's hope we don't do tomorrow's show in the midst of a blizzard. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter @RadioBradshaw. And if you ever miss a show or just find yourself alone in the middle of the night, I can be comforting. On the internet, go to the show archives. 24/7, 365 available. You can watch, the post-election show, which was a bit... I danced in that one, didn't I? I think there was some dancing, which I probably shouldn't tell you because you can go back and watch. And, some of the post-debate shows were fun. It's all there. It's all available 24 hours a day on the internet. So we'll reconvene tomorrow. Same bad time. Take 5 minutes. It literally takes 5 minutes. Call the senator. Call the representative. Try calling the White House, but you're not going to get through. Time to ring the bat phones and let them know that you are paying attention. And maybe they shouldn't cut Social Security to appease a bunch of wackaloons on the right. And we'll reconvene tomorrow at 1:30 here on The Bradshaw Show on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.